G'day mates, welcome to another episode of Antics with Aussie, where I keep you up to date with everything that's going on in competitive Fortnite. And I don't want to drag this intro out, I just want to jump straight into it. We're going to be talking about who are the big teams in NA East right now who have just split and reformed. We have Clix's new team showing up, we have Zexro going back to his old team, and I just wanted to cover some of the massive spawn fights we have going on right now in NA East. We have Zayt and Bizzle still going head to head. We have Chap's team and Bugha now going head to head with Scoped, Illest, and Cease. There's just so much going on, and this is shaping up to be one of the best seasons in competitive Fortnite. So I just want to make sure you're ready for it, you know what's happening, and let's just jump straight into it. Before we talk about who's dropping where and who's winning those drop spots, let's talk about some of the massive team splits we've had recently and reformed, because there's some big new teams on the block. Clix splitting up with Calc and Macwood has now meant that he is playing with Nosh and Zypher, which honestly in scrims right now is looking really good. You've got the IGL skills of Zypher leading the team with two of the most mechanical demons in NA East with Nosh and Clix. It's going to be a very scary trio to go head to head with, which meant that with that split, we have Zexro going back to Calc and Macwood, so the OG trio is back together. I know this happens every single season, but it looks like they're performing really well. One of their first days back together, which was today, they already won 2 games of NA East Pro Scrims during this test event, and they were looking really good. But if you didn't know what that means with the old teams, it means Unknown Army is now without a team. I have no idea who Unknown Army is playing with, because we now have Chaotic going back to play with Paper and Has. So few teams, new teams on the block, old teams being reformed, and it's shaping up to be ridiculous. But we now have one of the biggest NA East pros just left without a team. So I have no idea what that's going to mean going forward. But let's start talking about where some of these teams are dropping, because right now we have some of the most contested drops on the map, having some of the biggest teams going head to head, and it's causing a whole bunch of drama. But all I know is, as a spectator, it's super exciting. So let's break some of those down. Who's dropping where and who's winning those drops, and who's looking the best coming into Trio FNCS. If we're talking about drop spots, we have to start off talking about Stark Industries. This drop is causing so much drama right now. It's insane. It's been super fun to watch, but you now have Chap, Bugha, and Jamper pretty much just firmly rooting themselves at that drop spot against Ceased, Illest, and Scoped, but you also have Cody, Class, and Frat. So that is 3 teams dropping what is a drop that could really only support 1, maybe 2, but with the way it works with the Vault, it's pretty much never going to be able to have 2 teams that can take the loot and leave. They're always going to fight each other, and right now, really, if you had to ask me who is winning, none of them are. It is a crazy spawn fight where all 3 teams are pretty much never walking away, because the fight's dragging on for so long and they're getting eliminated so often. But it seems like all teams are okay with that, because they all have the same goal of just making the other teams leave. Right now, everyone's trying to alpha it, and it's looking like everyone's being as stubborn as each other, and no one's gonna leave. At one point, you even had Centered, Edgy, and Commandment, and Bucky, Creo, Kanata, and Clix, Zypher, and Nosh show up to this drop spot. So it's causing a whole bunch of drama. It looks like we have our 3 teams there, but I have no idea what it's going to mean going forward into FNCS and Cash Cups with who's going to leave. Because if you think, based on what we saw in last season with the blog post, that new items are going to be added to competitive after 2 weeks of a trial period, that means we might see Iron Man's Mythics in competitive. And if you've used Iron Man Mythics at all, you know why Stark Industries now is such a ridiculous drop. Not only is it the current loot you get out of the Vault, it means that whichever team can manage to alpha this drop up and hold on to it could have a huge buff in 2 weeks time going into FNCS. So if you guys aren't watching those fights, you have to. It's been insane. So far, Scoped and Ceased have been streaming it most days, but Bugha and Chap have as well. And I mean, I'm just going to play this clip from Chap today. This pretty much sums up how this fight has been going.
On your ramp, one shot. Nice. Right in front of me. Nice. Wow, they're fucking garbage.
Lol.
How do you lose that? How? You had everything. How? That is so embarrassing.
And I know what you're gonna say. That may make Chap look bad. And this happened in my stream today. We had a big chat about this. It's spawn beef. You have to understand that all these players think they're doing what's best for their tournament. It just so happens to be affecting other people's tournaments. They get pissed off. Things get heated, okay? Trust me, at the same time, this is potentially working. This is the kind of stuff that is making Scoped, Cease, and Illest say. So you kind of have to understand it a little bit, but again, let me know your stance down below. Do you think it's just spawn beef, or do you think it's going further than that?
Like, I'm down to not stream. I'm down to not stream. This is just gross.
It's like not even fun, bro. Like, we're just going out and just griefing people, and that's what they're literally doing.
Now, it's enough about Stark Industries. We do have the Battle at Doom's Domain still going head-to-head. You currently have Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega going head-to-head with Zayt, Saf, and Stretch, and that doesn't look like it's swinging either way anytime soon. It's looking like a pretty decent 50-50 split. They're walking away with the loot equal amounts of time, but now with the massive nerf to Doom's Mythics, if you guys didn't see, I covered it in one of my last videos, they're not as strong when they walk away. So right now, you've got two of the biggest teams going head-to-head, which is really going to hurt their chances of doing well in FNCS or Cash Cups potentially. Not so much Cash Cups, more FNCS, but even when they're walking away with the loot, it's really not looking like it's too much worth the risk. So I don't really know how either of those teams are going to go, whether one of them is going to maybe leave, but I really can't see either of those teams leaving at this point. They've put all their scrim practice and all their preparation into those drops. So without them streaming it, it's hard for me to keep up to date on how the teams are looking. But I mean, if you look at any of those teams' past history at drop spots, they almost never leave. They're both two of the teams with, rightfully so, the biggest egos in NA East. They have some of the biggest accomplishments, and they both want to stay there and alpha it up for the Doom's Mythics. So it's going to be one to watch out for. You'll have to keep your eyes on it because it's going to shape up for FNCS in a big way. But there's some other teams around the map that not many people are talking about that are doing insanely well without Mythic loot. You guys have been asking me everywhere on Twitch, on YouTube, on Reddit, who are the teams that I think are going to win Trio FNCS, and I don't like picking favorites. All I usually do is tell you who's playing consistent. And now three of the most consistent teams on the map right now out of scrims, and again, I'm not just picking favorites, this is from the leaderboard, is going to be teams that aren't going these mythic drops. They have their drops established and they're playing insanely consistent. You have AV, Rogue Shark, and Knight, which are going Fortilla and Shanty Towns kind of area. They're looking really good, but unfortunately, that nerf to boat fishing 2 days ago, I think has really affected their drop. They didn't stream today, so I'm not really sure how they're going in the scrims, but just from watching their strategy of utilizing those boats to get a whole bunch of loot, that now being taken out of the game, I'm not too sure how they're going to be handling it. But you also have Bucky, Creo, Kanata at Slurpee, who were doing insanely well, arguably the best team in NA East until they started getting contested by Jark's team. Neither of those teams streamed the last few days, so I'm not really sure how that spawn fight's going and who's winning and who's coming out on top. I did see Bucky, Creo, Kanata win a NA East Pro Scrim game today, so they must be doing at least somewhat well, and they've been looking like one of the scariest teams. So if they can alpha up Slurpee, or whether they can just maybe find a way to loot it and get out without fighting, they're definitely going to be my favorite to win FNCS, I'd have to think. But you also have Centered, Edgy, and Commandment, which have been going Misty Meadows and looking really, really strong. That is such an exciting trio to watch. You have the duo chemistry of Centered and Edgy just fragging out like crazy, being led and tarped by Commandment is just looking so good. They again won, I think, 2 games today as well, so they're definitely on the board. But again, unfortunately not streaming, it's hard for me to see exactly what's going on there. But you've got some big teams around the map. I haven't talked about Clix's new team yet. Clix, Zypher, and Nosh, I talked about them earlier, having reformed. They're looking so good out of Sweaty Sands right now. It's unfortunately not the strongest drop spot right now with rotations, which is affecting them a little bit, but I think that is probably one of the best teams Clix has been on as far as suiting him. Obviously, Calc, Mac, and Zexro are back together at Craggy, and they are looking so very good, especially with the massive buff they got recently, with the rifts being closer to Craggy now. They're quite often actually pushing into Stark Industries and cleaning up that fight, so they're looking as aggressive as ever, and it's honestly working so well for them. I'll have a little bit of a highlight here of a game they played today where they absolutely cleaned up.
You shockwave? I don't know. Shockwave again?
Let's
nice.
Go. On me, right here. It's 1v1, 1v1. Oh, no, never mind. It's not.
Oh.
Nice, good work.
That's always bad.
Zex, you're so good. Alright.
Bro, this god should not be in the game. This is like gold AK.
Stop talking about it. Stop talking about
Oh,
it.
my bad. I had 8 kills though from it.
How many kills did you had? 8 kills?
I had 6.
Wait, I only had 4. I feel like I had a lot more.
So I touched on a little bit earlier in the video, but that means you've got 2 huge names, not only huge players, but also big personalities in NA East, which looks like they're without a team. Currently, you have NRG's Unknown Army and NRG's Stable Ronaldo without a team. Unfortunately, Ronaldo did look really, really strong with Riversan, but for whatever reason, Riversan looks like he's picked up Aegis and Avery, which looks like a really, really scary team. So I don't know, possibly we're going to see Ronaldo and Unknown Army maybe go back together. They had such an insane performance winning squad FNCS together. So naturally, I have to assume that might be a trio that's forming. But obviously, you guys know with Ronaldo's huge explosion in content creation, maybe he's going to start focusing on that more so than the pro scene. I did hear him on a stream the other day when he was playing saying that he actually doesn't care about the money from content and he really does have that urge to start taking pros more seriously again. So maybe we'll see him trioing up with Unknown Army and just dominating. I'm not really sure who would be a good fit for them as a third right now because it's getting close to the new season. Unless we start seeing some major snaking, which I mean we always are. I saw Furious tweet today a snake emoji, so I don't know. I don't know who they're going to be left to trio with, but we'll have to see. All right, guys, that does it for another episode with Antics with Aussie. It's a different style. I hope you guys liked it. I'm not really sure how this video is going to do, but you guys ask me these questions all the time, so I know you care about it, so I hope it was enjoyable. I'm trying to figure out my style with this kind of stuff. Starting next week, I'm going to be focusing massively on tournament recaps. So remember, I stream all the tournaments live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AussieAntics. If you want to come by, swing by, ask me some questions, chill out, enjoy the tournaments with me. But that also means I'm going to be doing some recaps on the tournaments. So if you miss a Cash Cup, if you miss an FNCS day, I'm going to try and make videos recapping what were the big moments, who had the best performances, who had surprisingly poor performances, and just keep you up to date. That's what my channel's for now. So I hope you guys are enjoying this kind of content. If you are, please subscribe to support me. It would mean so much. I'm trying to hit 100K by the end of the year, and with your support, I just might do it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.